From the battle system changes to social link revamping, additional story beats to massive changes coming to romance options and more, this is absolutely everything we know that is confirmed to be featured in this much anticipated remake of Persona 3. Make sure to participate in my giveaway of the Persona 3 Reload Digital Premium Edition, linked in the description and in the pinned comment. First up, the battle system. We've got a ton of new additions coming to Persona 3 Reload that differentiates itself from the original Persona 3 releases on the PS2 and PSP. Many of these changes help it reach parity with Persona 5, a key goal that Atlus wanted to focus on in making Persona 3 more accessible and streamlined than the original games. First up, Persona 3 Reload has adopted the one-button combat menu interface, giving players more speed to the command issuing process in a system that was introduced in Persona 5. A big shift from Persona 3 and Persona 3 FES, Atlus is giving players direct control over the battle party in Persona 3 Reload, a feature unique to Persona 3 Portable, so players can issue commands from all party members and not just the protagonist. New to Persona 3 Reload is the ability to perform a shift, which is the new name for what has been traditionally known as the Baton Pass. A popular mechanic in Persona 5, Baton Pass allowed players to hand off their extra attack, considering they are presented with one, to another party member, buffing the switched character's attack. This can be chained numerous times, allowing for insane amounts of damage to be dished out with the proper execution. Like the original Persona 3 releases, physical damage is still divided into three main types: strike, slash, and pierce. Dropped in Persona 4 and 5, these physical damage types, a signature element of Persona 3's battles, remains intact here in the upcoming remake. In addition to the physical damage types remaining in the game, we have new additions to Persona 3, with the skills Eiha and Koha being added for light and dark elements respectively. The original Persona 3 games did not have these skills for the light and dark elements, other than the insta-kill Hama and Mudo skills. So seeing the light and dark elements have more of a presence here in Persona 3 is fantastic. Shuffle time has also seen a significant change from the original Persona 3, as instead of players selecting their reward cards during a shuffle, players instead select their cards displayed for them more in line with that of Persona 4 Golden. This will make acquiring Personas and other cards more streamlined than before. Now, that's all the combat changes confirmed to be coming to Persona 3 Reload for now, but very much related to the game's combat is Tartarus, of which we are getting into right now. Tartarus serves as the main dungeon of the game, where players will do the vast majority of their battling, and while the overall concept of Tartarus remains largely the same, this towering dungeon has received a fair share of changes and improvements over the original Persona 3 releases. Like the original game, Tartarus will continue to feature the random layouts of each of the 100+ floors, except this time, more work has gone into Tartarus to make it more visually pleasing and more appealing to dungeon crawl. With the new overhaul to the graphics comes the increased scale of the environments, and this is doubly true for Tartarus. Once featuring narrow corridors to traverse, the layouts of Tartarus are considerably wider now, featuring more diverse color palettes and things to interact with. According to an article by Famitsu in an interview with Persona 3 Reload's director, Takuya Yamaguchi, objects have been added to Tartarus that can be interacted with and destroyed, with the game's backgrounds having some elements that move and morph around the player, making Tartarus traversal more enjoyable than the duller aesthetic of the original games. In that same interview with Famitsu, Yamaguchi adds, "At regular intervals, there's unique dialogue that can only be heard in the dungeon." We'll talk more about the dialogue after we finish talking about Tartarus, because there are massive changes happening with the dialogue here in Persona 3 Reload. New to Tartarus is the option to dash, making traversal through Tartarus a lot quicker. Perhaps the single best change happening to Tartarus, which directly affects the game's combat, is the lack of the tired condition in Persona 3 Reload. That's right, explore Tartarus to your heart's content, because players will no longer have their party members succumb to levels of fatigue that otherwise prevented players from battling further in Tartarus. No longer having the status to contend with, players are able to explore as much or as little as they want, and additionally, don't have to wait for members to recover should players desire to head to Tartarus for more dungeon crawling. Let me know if there's anything that I missed here in the battling that you'd like to inform us all of by dropping a comment in the comments. Now that we're finished with the combat changes, let's discuss the dialogue and story changes and enhancements coming to Persona 3 Reload. And a massive change, the English voice cast has been completely recast for Persona 3 Reload. While I've enjoyed what I've heard so far from the new cast, some players of the original P3 games aren't happy with some of the new cast. But just know going into this game that the game's English cast is different here. While that may be controversial, we can celebrate knowing that every rank up social link scene in Persona 3 Reload will be completely voiced. This change is freaking awesome. In addition, Yamaguchi, in the same interview with Famitsu, confirms Persona 3 Reload contains the largest number of voiced lines in the series. The title was originally quite long to play, but if you listen to the voices carefully as you progress through the game, I think you will enjoy it that much more. Like the original, Persona 3 Reload will still not offer social links for the male party members. Instead, the story has been expanded to incorporate more character growth of these characters as they are now woven into the narrative. These come as new additions to the game referred to as side stories. New to the game's social link system is confirmation that players will no longer risk having their social link progress broken. This usually happened in the original game where a link would be broken and couldn't advance if the player wasn't spending enough time with a particular character while in the relationship status. Now we no longer have to worry about permanent progression blocks with our social links. Speaking of relationships, in a change that everyone will appreciate, Persona 3 Reload confirms the possibility of optional romances. Similar to Persona 4 and 5, players can choose to be platonic with certain characters should their social links get to the higher stages. This choice about whether to get into a relationship with certain characters was not present in Persona 3, so for those not wanting to be a player, well, here's your confirmation. Reported by Noisy Pixel, the Infocom Media Development Authority of the Singaporean government revealed the following information about this in the following when classifying the rating of Persona 3 Reload. When the player sufficiently builds up the male protagonist bonds with certain female characters, it can culminate in optional depictions of characters hugging and kissing, and textual descriptions implying sexual intimacy. The key word here is can. These romances were automatically initiated in Persona 3, so this is a great step in the right direction regarding player choice. Sticking with social links, social link reversals can still happen, in which progress in the social link could regress to an earlier state if the player were to make a wrong choice. Players would then have to redevelop that social link back to the previously attained level. Aigis' social link introduced in Persona 3 FES is confirmed to be here in Persona 3 Reload. In addition, there have been new changes with Koromaru pertaining to going on walks with him, where we can now earn social link points by having conversations with characters during the walk, in addition to finding items along the way. The security camera scenes from Persona 3 FES will be present here in Reload. While much of this is indeed great news, many fans are bummed that defining features of Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable will not be present here in Persona 3 Reload, including FES's The Answer chapter and the female protagonist from Persona 3 Portable. While these elements will be missing, all main story elements from Persona 3 FES will be present in Persona 3 Reload. Briefly touching on the game's music, the music has been re-recorded for Persona 3 Reload, still featuring the male vocalist Lotus Juice, but has instead replaced female vocalist Yumi Kawamura for Azumi Takashi. The new female vocalist does an incredible job replicating the feel of the original Persona 3 soundtrack, so don't get too tight about this slight change. In addition to the re-recordings, a brand new battle track has been composed when players ambush an enemy, titled It's Going Down. Persona 3 Reload will be launching on Steam, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 on February 2nd, 2024. If you can't wait for more information concerning Persona 3 Reload, new information about the game will be released with every full moon. And yes, that pertains to the moon here in reality. Make sure to participate in my giveaway of the Persona 3 Reload Digital Premium Edition, and stay tuned for more content surrounding Persona as we move forward. Watch this video for a deeper explanation of the new battle changes coming to Persona 3 Reload, and I look forward to seeing you all real soon in the next one. Thank you all for the awesome support.